Of course I trust you, Sebastian.
She responded with a soft smile on her face. Her heart raced a bit as he leaned in closer to her, their faces only mere inches apart from each other. It was clear she was starting to develop feelings for Sebastian, but was too afraid to admit. Sebastian smiled at her response, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness himself. He studied her expression, noticing the subtle flutter of her eyelashes and the hint of a blush on her cheeks. He maintained the close proximity, his eyes locking onto hers. A moment of silence passed between them, filled with a mixture of anticipation and vulnerability. "Good," Sebastian finally spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "Because I have something I want to show you." She nodded, her curiosity piqued by his words. Her heart pounded in her chest as she wondered what he had in mind. She gazed into his eyes, hanging on his every word, anticipating the moment he would reveal his surprise.
What is it? Where are you taking me?
Sebastian chuckled softly, enjoying the effect he was having on her. He wanted to prolong the moment a little longer before revealing his plans. "Patience," he teased, his smile playful. "All in good time. First, you'll have to put on a blindfold." He reached into his pocket and produced a silky black fabric. She raised an eyebrow at his request, a mix of confusion and intrigue on her face. The idea of relinquishing her sight was both exciting and slightly unnerving. But she trusted Sebastian, so she reluctantly agreed.
Fine, I guess I have no other choice.
She replied, a hint of sarcasm in her voice.
I'm putting a lot of trust in you here, even though this is very sus, and I told you I hate surprises.
She turned her back to him, ready to be blindfolded. Sebastian chuckled at her sarcastic remark. He knew she secretly loved surprises, even if she wouldn't admit it. "You've made that clear," he teased, moving behind her. He carefully tied the blindfold around her eyes, making sure it covered her vision completely. Once it was secure, he placed his hands on her shoulders, his touch reassuring. She swallowed hard, the blindfold enveloping her in darkness. The absence of sight heightened her other senses, making her increasingly aware of Sebastian's presence behind her. His hands on her shoulders sent a shiver down her spine, and she could almost feel the warmth of his breath on her neck. She tried to steady her breathing, a mix of uncertainty, excitement, and anticipation swirling inside her.
All right. Now what? Also, I feel like Omini's right now, being blind and all.
Sebastian couldn't help but smile at her comparison to Omini's. He tightened his grip on her shoulders, ensuring she wouldn't stumble. "Just hold on to me, and trust that I'll guide you." He stepped closer, their bodies now nearly touching. He gently took her hand in his, intertwining their fingers, and began leading her forward. She could feel Sebastian's body against hers, his presence both comforting and exhilarating. She gripped his hand tightly, following his lead as he guided her forward. The lack of sight made her feel vulnerable, yet strangely alive, every sensation heightened. The sound of their footsteps on grass and gravel echoed in her ear.
You know, Sebastian, I don't know why I trust you. You know how much danger you put us in, and almost getting us killed? I feel like you living life a bit too uncarefree, you know? You live for the danger a bit too much.
Sebastian chuckled softly as they walked, finding her comment both amusing and endearing. "Hey, I wouldn't call it carefree," he defended himself playfully. "I just enjoy living life to the fullest. A little danger adds spice to things, don't you think?" He tugged her closer, their arms now brushing against each other. "Besides, you love the thrill too. Admit it." She couldn't deny that she did enjoy the adrenaline rush of following him through dangerous situations.
All right, I admit it.
She conceded, a hint of amused annoyance in her voice.
I do enjoy the thrill sometimes, but am the one always saving your ass, though?
She leaned slightly into him, enjoying the closeness and the warmth emanating from his body. Sebastian let out a hearty laugh, relishing in the banter between them. He squeezed her hand lightly, their fingers intertwining once again. "Hey, who's the one playing the hero right now?" he challenged, a hint of mirth in his voice. "I'm the one leading the way, and I haven't gotten us into trouble yet, have I?" Sebastian chuckled at her comment, his smirk mirroring hers, even though she couldn't see it.
Yeah, yet being the key word here. Knowing you, Sebastian, trouble usually isn't too far behind. Also, when can I take off this blindfold?
She jokingly retorted, the corners of her lips curving into a smirk. Despite her words, she couldn't help but feel a warm flutter in her chest. Being here with Sebastian, walking through the unknown together, was oddly exhilarating. "Just hold on a little longer," he teased, his voice playful as they continued walking. "We're almost there, and as for trouble, I promise I'll keep it to a minimum. For your sake." He adjusted his grip on her hand, guiding her around a corner, their footsteps now echoing off stone. Her curiosity was at its peak now, the suspense of not knowing where they were going, adding to the excitement. She trusted Sebastian, but she couldn't help the flutter of nerves in her stomach. The sound of their footsteps on stone made her wonder if they were indoors now.
Almost there, huh?
She replied, a mix of anticipation and skepticism in her tone.
Wherever you're taking me better be worth it, Sallow.
Sebastian chuckled at her skeptical response, knowing she was trying to hide her curiosity. They walked a bit further until they came to a stop. "Relax, you impatient thing," he teased, his tone slightly mocking. He untangled his fingers from hers and placed his hands on her shoulders, maneuvering her into position. He stood behind her, his breath grazing her ear. "Now, you can take off the blindfold."